Hi. So, Margaret, can you start by introducing yourself?
Certainly. Thank you very much. My name is Margarete Heck. I come from the University of Edinburgh, but I was originally born in Germany, grew up in America, and moved to Scotland 22 years ago. So I'm a professor of cell biology and genetics. I have a research active career, but one of the other hats I wear is actually as a director of postgraduate studies for the Deanery of Clinical Sciences at the University of Edinburgh. And so I juggle those two things.
So I heard about something you did where you went and met some school students and teachers in Hyderabad. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, thank you. Yes, I was honored to be asked to participate in an outreach program. And the first one was to speak to teachers at one of the colleges. And so I presented a talk where I spoke a bit about myself, my own career path. But really what I wanted to do was to show the teachers that there are many different career opportunities for scientists, and that as they're teaching their students, they should be able to tell students there are many career options. And one of the other things that I like to do in those sorts of talks is show that if you're a woman and you're trying to have a family and a research career or a scientific career, it is possible. It's also a juggling act, and you have to juggle your family and the lab and the relationship, but you just keep going, and if something falls down, you just pick that ball back up and start again. So the first talk was to teachers, as I said, and the teachers were all really enthusiastic and very interested to hear what I was able to do, and that I was very happy to have my first trip in India. And as a result of that, then I was invited to do another outreach program, and in that case to speak to undergraduate students. So because I didn't have much time, I basically used the same presentation, but it was appropriate both for teachers and for students, because again, I could talk about different science careers and the challenges and what I love about my job and the things I also don't love about my job. And the students also had many good questions, many interesting questions about could they go from the degree they're currently doing into a different area if they want to do postgraduate education. And I hope I was able to convince them that yes, that is certainly an opportunity. They have many transferable skills from doing an undergraduate degree that they can employ in different areas of science or other fields.
So is this something that you have done before in your country or any other place?
I've done more with various postgraduate programs, actually, to be honest. So not so much with undergraduates, and certainly not in foreign countries. So it's a huge honor, and really, I was very happy that I could speak to people and meet both teachers and students.
Were there any moments while you were doing this here where the differences between the ground realities in India and your own country really stood out for you?
That's an interesting question. Gosh, I wish I'd had more time to think about that. What stood out? No, I think really what you see is more the similarities between us, and that particularly as women, we have the demands of raising children and having a satisfying family life as well as a professional career. That's something that we're all concerned with, and trying to make sure that the community benefits and that we're all working together to try to bring a better future for our children. And with regard to the students, perhaps the Indian students had less of an idea about various opportunities that would be available to them than students in the UK have at this point. But that's just because we may have been discussing some of these matters earlier.
But you mentioned about talking to the teachers, especially students, about how it is possible to have how they might need an extra push. So what kind of response did you see from them? Did they seem to find what you were saying useful, or were they related?
I certainly hope they found it useful, but certainly the people the students I was speaking with, it was half and half male and female, and they pretty much had similar questions and similar concerns. So I think the issues at that level are quite the same. So that was gratifying to see that there wasn't something, or if they felt uncomfortable asking something, then they didn't ask. But certainly there was no problem getting people to talk. And
Right.
that was true for both the teachers and the students. So I was very happy that that was the case.
I think it is true that a lot of students in India, especially in the high school and the undergraduate level, don't really know what the different avenues are posed to them. So what do you think could possibly be done, or maybe is done where you are from, that could sort of inform them better?
Yeah. Well, I think one of the most important things, if you're not actively working in research, you may not really see the human side of science. And I think one of the things I wanted to do was show that scientists, research scientists, are humans, and we're just like anybody else. And so in light of that, hopefully we can show, by being more of a face that the public can see, that research careers are an option. There are many other scientific careers that if we educate people about, they'll see there are opportunities. There are opportunities in grants administration. Lots of funding bodies obviously need PhDs who can help manage these grants. Scientific publishing is a very good career to go into. Public policy, trying to advise government bodies or other professional societies, what sort of scientific directions should be followed. Patent law, there are all sorts of different careers. So I think really an important thing is just to educate people about the opportunities.
And how much of a role do you think scientists play in educating, in science education basically? What is the
I think they play a very important role. They should probably play a more important role. And I think there should be more opportunities for these sorts of outreach events, so that there's a better communication between the public and the people who consider themselves scientists, so that ideas that are not right, as in we should have more creationism taught in schools, we shouldn't teach evolution, that should just be quashed right away. And I think if more scientists play an active role, then the whole society benefits.
Right. Lastly, do you recall any interesting questions maybe that popped up during these exercises?
Well, actually, I obviously did one. Well, one was from another woman, probably similar age as I am, who was wondering why many of us, despite the fact we're trying to eat good diets and be healthy, we still have problems with our physiology and our weight gain and things like this. And I said, well, I feel your frustration. But I think there's just biology that we don't understand. And I don't. So, no, and I think I just tried to point out that there's a lot of variation in biology and a lot of physiological issues we don't understand yet.
Right.
But that's
that was important.
Yeah.
I mean,
but it's something that affects everybody.
Exactly. Great. Thank you so much, Margaret. Thanks for talking to us.
Well, thank you very much for your time. It's a pleasure.